All right, so I did put on captions for this town hall because the last town hall, someone commented that we didn't have captions and they're hard of hearing, so I added those.
Well,
Um,
my voice is just going to make that a nightmare. I'm sorry.
so basically, how we'll do it is we'll have you introduce yourself, and then members from the audience can raise their hand and ask as many questions as they want. And there's literally no question that is not allowed as far as I'm concerned. I don't like to moderate debates or, well, questions where we limit what the delegates can ask. I just ask that, we don't ask anything demeaning or inappropriate
Okay.
that would violate the NAP. So, floor is yours.
All right. Well, I'm Hannah Goodman. I am the chairwoman of Colorado. I am the author of the infamous Colorado GOP deal. I am running for LNC vice chairman because what I would like to see from this party is advancing this branding into the political landscape nationally. I have made the Colorado affiliate the most relevant political party in Colorado. The press cannot keep our name out of their mouth. We are looked to and we are the arbiters of what is liberty in Colorado. And I would like for that same elevation to happen with the National Party. I realize vice chairman is not a visionary role. And so I would trust, I'm obviously running with Angela McArdle, but I am not against vice chairing under Rutherford. In fact, he would benefit from somebody with my expertise and my abilities. So if he were to win, I would tailor a specific strategy plan to operate as vice chair under him, going over his goals, going over his vision, and then figuring out how I can execute as vice chair under that. So I'm going to speak from the fact that I'm running with Angela McArdle, and I'm not super familiar with Rutherford's plan. So I can't really speak to that as well as I probably would like. I'm open to some idea suggestions and some questions that way, but I'm not super knowledgeable on that. I would like to be able to be very supportive to Angela. She tends to be more passive. We all know I'm very vocal. I'm bring my excellent sense of professionalism to this role, my strategic planning and project management. We in Colorado operate with project management through our committee systems, and we are very effective that way. So I know how to run the day-to-day operations of that internal face of the board, as well as provide some
No,
support.
Celtics.
District's running for vice chair.
So I'm looking to be very supportive to the chair, McArdle, should she be reelected, and going forward, Rutherford as well. So that's the beginning of my pitch. I see Nick has his hand raised.
Yep. Nick, you're up. Nick, you there? You still have a question?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, did you have your hand up?
No, my hand wasn't up.
Oh.
You said my name and I'm like, is my hand up? And I looked at it and I see it say raised hand. There's no hand up of me.
Oh,
So,
Allison's is up. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm sure I'll have one in a couple minutes though.
Okay. Go ahead, Allison.
Great. Hi, Hannah. It's nice to meet you. I actually attended, and I'm on, just for everyone on this call, and I think Travis is on the call. I'm on credentials committee, so I'll be in DC a little earlier than I think many others. But anyway, I wanted to ask you the same question that I asked to Josh and to Mimi because I was on that call on Sunday night. I'd like to get your take on it. Obviously, the biggest news for the convention in the last week or so has been the presence of Donald Trump there. And I assume your take might be a little different because, as you said, you're really connected to the Colorado GOP strategy that's been going on over there. So I was just wondering, with regards to the leadership of the party, the direction of the party, with regards to your sentiments regarding Trump's appearance and how that should be best utilized for the party. I just wanted to get your whole take on that. since I've gotten that take now from the other two running for vice chair. You know, what's your feelings about his presence at our convention?
So I think it just goes to show how relevant libertarianism is for the mainstream. For a lot of years now, we've been hearing libertarian, oh, so-and-so's libertarian, oh, so-and-so's libertarian. You know, everyone likes to say Jared Polis is this great libertarian, right? He's clearly not, believe me. I live here. He is not. Nor would I say Trump is libertarian. But it goes to show you that we do have some weight to throw around this political arena. If people like Trump are standing up and taking notice of us, I mean, think about that. The only person Trump really notices is himself. Maybe Hillary Clinton, maybe a few actors like that, but generally he's very self-centered on himself. So for him to take notice of us, that to me says huge things, right? That we are relevant, that we are worth courting, that we are worth meeting with, that we are worth debating with, right? We always, as libertarians, cry about how we are never invited to these debates. If we all remember the Jorgensen campaign, there was the whole Let Her Speak movement, right? Where they were going to rush the debate stage to try and get her on this debate stage. Well, why do we need the uniparty debate stage when we have debate stages at home? And if people are willing to come to these stages and be on them, why would we bar them access? That's absolutely ridiculous, especially when we've been crying for this attention for 50 years, probably, right? So I'm super excited to see that we are now at this point and this juncture in the American public's eye that even Donald Trump has stopped looking at himself, looking up and seeing us as saying, oh, I need to at least address these people. And like I said before, I want the Libertarian Party to be the arbiters of what is liberty. I want us to define what that is. The Democrats can't define what liberty is. The Republicans surely cannot define what liberty is. So the only party that's poised to do so is the Libertarian Party. And that is why I think it's incredibly important. Not only that, with all of the press and media attention that comes with us, the lifeblood of politics is media cycles and how you can get in them and how you can stay in them. I'm shocked at how much press attention I have got off one political stunt, which was the GOP deal. I'm still in press cycles, and it's now led me to be invited to a debate stage. So I'm going to come home from National Convention on June 1st. I'm going to be taking a debate stage for Congressional District 4's special election with a Republican, a Democrat, and it's not ranked choice voting, it's the other one. I don't know what the other voting party
Star?
is. No.
Approve,
Like
deny, approve.
approval.
Yep.
Yes, it's the approval voting party. So they're going to be on the debate stage as well. Should I reject that invitation? Is that selling out to be on a debate stage? Debate is being hosted by a Republican group out of Weld County that are called the Women of Weld. They're a Republican women group. And so should I reject that offer because it's been made by another party? I'm sorry, that's not how politics works. I'm very serious about politics. I'm very serious about my political career. So I'm going to do the things that I think are going to make me a serious candidate. And doing so with the National Party and Trump, that is showing you clearly we can be a serious political party and a serious political threat if members will allow us to do that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your response. And yeah, I had one follow-up question if Nick's okay, or if anybody else wants to go first. It really just has to do because you're talking about your political career. I'd just like to hear more about that and your association, your work with
Go
the
ahead,
Libertarian
Allison.
Party. Just for some background info. Yeah. Like how long you've been with the party, the positions you held, things like that, just the basics is perfectly fine.
I believe I've been a member of the Libertarian Party since January of 2019. I just had to look at my voter registration, so I'm pretty sure that's what it said when I filled out my congressional.
I've done the same to find the date.
I'm like, I don't know. So I got into politics. I talked a little bit about it. I started as a vaccine activist. I don't vaccinate my children. I wasn't even registered with a political party. I was not even a registered voter, fighting the Colorado legislature on that. My grandfather was a county commissioner at the time. He helped get many House members elected. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey, Grandpa, can you help me talk to these legislators? I'm fighting this vaccine legislation. My grandpa, who's a Republican, one of the only ones in my family, he got really angry. He told me to vaccinate my damn kids. And I just looked at him and I'm like, you're a Republican. Aren't you supposed to be for liberty? And he got very angry and he told me if I could do a better job, that I should do that. So I said, hold my hat, cowboy. I'm coming. So I spent a few years studying political philosophy. I wasn't sure what I was. I was like, clearly, I'm not a Republican. I know I'm not a Democrat. I dove headfirst into Ayn Rand. That was really liberating. I found the Libertarian Party, although I know she's not really pro-Libertarian Party. To me, it is exactly the same ideas. I mean, there's really not much difference there. So I decided to register as a Libertarian, and I made my first run for City Council in 2020. I also ran for county clerk. I wasn't intending to run for Congress, but we, with the GOP deal, were able to move Lauren Boebert out of her district, and she hopped into my district in order to avoid signing our pledge. And I'm like, well, honey, you just came from the frying pan into the fire because now you're in my district and I'm going to run against you. So that's exactly what I'm doing, though I was not intending to run a congressional race at this point. I'm really focused smaller. I have a 30-year goal. So I'm going to start local or county, and I'm going to build my way up through the House or Senate here in Colorado, and I want to run for governor within 30 years. So when I run, I intend to get elected. So currently I'm working on building my campaign resume. That's why I got involved with party leadership. I was vice chairman of the Colorado Libertarian Party from 2021 to 2023. And now I'm in chairman position. So the LNC position will go into that resume as well. And it really will help reflect to voters. I've been elected to these high offices. I've managed budgets that are, X amount of dollars. It makes me more electable, specifically on like a county level and or a state house level. At the same time, I'm building my donors. It costs about $14,000 to win this House district in Colorado. And so it's about $7,000 to win the county commissioner race. So in the meantime, I'm working every race I've done. I put together my donors, and I'm working on trying to get funding for those higher races. So that's a little bit of my political background. I'm up for special election. I have the unique advantage of never being registered a Democrat. The guy that's running for Republican is a former Democrat. The Democrat's running as a Democrat. I've never been registered Democrat, so I'm hoping that the Republicans, because this congressional district is a red district, although Colorado is technically blue, I'm hoping that that would be more appealing to them than the Republican candidate that has been picked, who is a garbage candidate. He kicked his pregnant wife in the head. He's embezzled large amounts of money. He's a former Democrat. So I hope that that puts me over the edge specifically for the special election.
All right, thank you so much. And I really do appreciate the Ayn Rand comment there. I always identify with Dagny Taggart, and I have yet to give up on society. I'm not at John Galt stage yet. I won't give up. So anyway.
I saw in the chat somebody asked if I said there was not much difference between Libertarian and Republican. No, there's a wide difference between the two. I said I knew I was not a Republican based on the interaction with my grandfather and my love of liberty. So no, there's not a ton of difference between the Republican Party and the Libertarian Party. Republican is just Democrat light at this point.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for both questions with the responses. And I guess other people are going to have questions at this point. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Nick, you're up.
All right, so you're,
But
as
I
you
just want to say
mentioned,
before this, I just want to say, oh, thank God, Hannah. For some reason, I thought that's what you'd said, and I had to ask. So that was my question. All right, sorry to interrupt, but I feel much better. Bye-bye.
All right. So as you mentioned, you were kind of the architect behind the infamous Colorado deal, which when you look at it and see what it is, I think it's absolutely great and shows an outsized influence compared to what we have. I mean, I don't know if you've actually had any candidates from the Republicans agree to it, but maybe you could speak to that. But how do you how do you plan on going with a wider strategy like that in the future? You know, at the national level, I mean, I know there's a whole lot more, but there's got to be something, you know, to increase our ability, you know, increase the number of candidates we have winning elections, or force the two major parties into, um, you know, conceding things to us. So I guess talk to that.
So yes, that deal. We did have several signed pledges come back. I also had a few signed pledges come from other third parties. So that's been interesting. We are looking at having that be a legacy feature of my tenure here as chairwoman of the Libertarian Party of Colorado. So the goal would be to update that Liberty Pledge every so often, whether that's every year or every 2 to 4 years, I'm not sure. That is now a part of strategic works here at the LPCO, and I'm very, very proud of that. I even brought a Democrat to our convention. She was considering signing that pledge. Her team advised her not to. And so that's really interesting, right? I think the strategy really only works if the Libertarian Party in each state has a good chunk of the swing vote. That's what makes us really relevant, is we know we have the swing vote. It's been shown over several election cycles. I know everyone hates the spoiler term. Why? The unit party is so scared of it. Why wouldn't we just like hold this boogeyman in front of them and go, "Ooh, is the swing vote in the room with you now? Is the spoiler in the room with you now?" And scare them. That's really why I like leaning into that. And occasionally we do have a quote spoiler. Dan Ward for Congressional District 8 last election cycle definitely created the way that election went. He won more of a percentage of the vote than the Republican lost by. Also, that Republican was a garbage candidate. So the idea is really run good candidates if you can, or we're going to run against you. And now the press is watching. So it gives us free publicity. So that's what I really like about it. And that's really the only way it actually works, is if you've got a good swing vote. Here in Colorado, independent voters make up 42% of the voting population. That's huge. The Libertarian Party makes up like 3 to 5% of the voting population. But we can swing our little percentage around and we can really affect outcomes. We would have completely annihilated Lauren Boebert. I want you guys to know that. She lost her last election by like 542 votes. We have 13,000 registered Republicans. I mean, not Republicans, there was way more than that. 13,000 registered Libertarians in that district, and she refused to sign our pledge. There is no way she was going to win that election, which is why she decided to hop on over here. She definitely has more of a chance to win in this district than that former one, just because there's less of a swing vote in this district. So if your state has, or even your districts or things like that, that's how you can start maneuvering into that political environment. Now, nationally, I'm not sure this strategy works. I'm really like an out of the box kind of thinker. So I think that there is a lot of things we could try to potentially do. What that is at this point, I'm not quite sure. And the vice chairman role really isn't a visionary role. It's more of a support in executing the vision of the chair. That's the way I understand the role. And so I'm really looking forward to learning how this board fully operates, and then trying to get some really unique out of the box ideas that we can try to potentially implement to throw ourselves around the political arena, which that's why I like that Trump is going to come on our debate stage. Like, Like, let's make him look ridiculous, right? And RFK, I do actually have a little bit of respect for RFK because I was a vaccine activist and he's always been involved with that. Well, not always, but for a very long time, right? He's been a huge fighter in that. And so I respect him on that level. But let's not call him a libertarian. He is an old school Democrat. That's exactly what he is. I come from old school Democrats. My family loves him, okay? Loves him. They're like, thank God, a regular, like, good old Democrat. Where did they go? There's not a lot of them left. But I still think having him up there, having Trump up there, it showcases so perfectly, so beautifully why they are not libertarians. And we get to control that narrative by putting our own ideas out there for the entire world to see, right? The world follows Trump. The whole world knows who Donald Trump is. Why would we not benefit from showcasing the difference in his ideas versus ours, right? I love a free market. I love a free market specifically in the marketplace of ideas. That's what gets me really excited. That's what I love. So that's why I think it's so important that we showcase the best of libertarians up there. And that's why I think the Colorado deal may not work with the national level, but there are things on the national level that we can be relevant.
Yeah, good girl.
I think someone's not on mute.
Yeah, sorry.
It was just oddly timed.
That was me. I'm sorry. I thought I was on mute. I was talking to my dog. Sorry.
So AJ Fisher said, with a large number of new gun owners since 2020 of all political stripes and their eye-opening interaction with the ATF regarding SBRs and suppressors for processing, what can the LP do to capture those voters who may find us through the 2A self-defense movement?
So what's really cool here in Colorado is we have a massive legislative program. So my legislative director has a committee underneath him. During our legislative session, they get together weekly and they do these calls. It's called the Weekly Legislative Roundup, and they stream it on YouTube. And then they have people come in and talk. So in Colorado, we recently just defeated, like yesterday, it's called the assault weapons ban. It's the second time this has been introduced into Colorado. And we worked with, last time, we started forming a partnership with Rocky Mountain gun owners. So the NRA is not why I hate the NRA, right? Like real libertarians hate the NRA. They don't have a presence here in Colorado. The lobby group that does is the Rocky Mountain gun owners. And so we've formed this partnership over the course of a year and a half. And we work side by side with them. They get all of their activists, we get all of our activists, and we mob the Capitol. And it is so much fun. So the way that we meet other, like we capture these people on these 2A issues, is forming coalitions and partnerships just like that. So the other thing that we walk away with Rocky Mountain Gun Owners, this is the first year they've ever endorsed and funded a libertarian candidate. That candidate is my vice chairman, Alicio Gonzalez, and he's running for Arapahoe County Commissioner on the Front Range. It's a huge population. It's not like where I live. Like we have like 5,000 people in the county. There's like 100,000 people in Arapahoe County or something crazy. I don't even know. But so with this lobby group that also operates as a PAC, we are getting candidates funded and endorsed. They also gave us a list of targets of House district and Senate districts to target to run libertarians. They also helped me secure signers for my pledge, my Liberty Pledge, which speaks quite a bit to gun issues itself. So we're really leveraging this partnership and really exposing Colorado voters to the Libertarian Party, because guess what? The Republican Party, they're not showing up on these issues. They're relying on these activist groups to do everything. And meanwhile, their legislators are fighting gun legislation.
Your audio dipped out real quick. You muted, Hannah.
Sorry.
Oh.
We can't. So they're telling us these Republicans got to go. These Republicans are bad. We're going to endorse your candidates if they will run against these really bad Republicans. So we are working really hard to capture a lot of 2A people here in Colorado, especially because our gun rights are severely under attack here.
In the follow-up, I think gun rights are attacked everywhere at this point. PA, we luckily got 2 bills shot down today.
Nice. Glad to hear it.
Luckily. They're really going for our concealed carry permits.
One really cool thing with Rocky Mountain gun owners. So we had a civil asset forfeiture reduction bill that had bipartisan support. The first time ever Rocky Mountain gun owners had a sponsored piece of legislation with bipartisan support, killed in committee by 3 Republicans. They are furious. They're like, that's it. Like, these politicians need to be done. The Libertarian Party needs to come in and they need to run against these people. We're going to endorse them. We're going to fund them. And so we're working on that. That's a civil asset forfeiture reduction bill that has really nothing to do with the Second Amendment. But Rocky Mountain gun owners thought that was a hugely important issue, so much so that they would sponsor a piece of legislation, co-sponsor it, and then Republicans killed it, not Democrats. Isn't that crazy?
That is. So, I have questions. I guess I'll go with mine, and then if anyone else wants any. So, I'm a member of the LNC candidate support committee. Because I'm doing these town halls, they all asked me to ask a few questions. One, the candidate support committee felt handcuffed by staff members within the LNC throughout the 2 years of our tenure. One in particular was Lainey Huston. We have no problem saying the name. What will the current, if elected, what would you say would be the current plan of attack for these following issues that the candidate support committee had? One, lack of integration with plans that we've had with the website to promote the plans to candidates. An actual email for the candidate support, like an LNC email for the candidate support committee chair. That's 2 years in the making, by the way, asking for it. And integration of our candidate support survey with the website. Again, that's Lainey's tenure. And finally, and most importantly, we have a budget. We feel that the LNC asks us to interview candidates to give them money. We feel that we should be empowered to say, hey, we have a $50,000 budget. Until we spend our budget, we shouldn't need the board's approval to give a candidate money. Because the problem that we're running into is, we're a mixed board. There's Mises on there, there's classical liberal, there's no caucus. And, one of the people on that board, I've been allowed to say his name, is Evan McMahon, who's pretty influential with candidates and in the Libertarian Party. When Evan votes to say, hey, I'm going to give you $500, and you meet all the policy manual deadlines, and then the LNC takes 3 months to vote on it, and now this candidate's special election's already over with, Evan looks stupid, TJ looks stupid. The LNC doesn't look bad, doesn't look stupid, we look stupid. We voted for it, and now we're just supposed to recommend to the LNC currently as it stands. We feel that we should be empowered to just go, hey, Todd Agopian or Bill Redpath, whoever's the treasurer, we want to disperse $100 out of our budget to Joe Blow for president, or, well, not for president, Joe Blow for Senate. We had prime example. We had a candidate in Tennessee that needed money for an attorney to stay on the ballot, which that was a ballot access in us thing. They needed $250. It never got voted on by the time they needed to pay the lawyer. And their state affiliate gave them half. That's why they only needed $250. And we voted yes, because they've raised everything else for their campaign. But they never got the funds. So I know it's a mouthful, but those are the issues that committee has. They plan on whoever getting elected at the first board meeting at convention, sending a delegate to voice that to you guys as well. Just a heads up.
No worries. Actually, definitely have somebody there to speak to that. That's incredibly important. So I almost walked away from this party in 2020 when I ran for city council. So Colorado is a home rule state. That means local elections are nonpartisan. But we still track nonpartisan numbers. I went ahead, I did all of the footwork to get myself on the ballot. And then I notified the party that I would be on the ballot and that I wanted to be counted in nonpartisan numbers because candidates are the reason political parties exist, right? Partisan or not. I was completely ignored. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, if you don't want my local run, you're sure as hell not getting my governor run. I'll do it independent. You think I won't do something? I will. So I was deeply offended. The reason that it's no secret I am Mises Caucus. The reason that I went with Mises Caucus is because of their support for candidates specifically local. Realistically, in order to get elected to higher office, it's just like any other job. You have to start lower and work higher. That's how it works. Unless you have massive notoriety or something like that, that's the game. You need to build your political resume and you need to work your way up. And I know that local races don't seem to be very sexy to some people, but I love them. So candidates in Colorado are one of my top focuses. My boards have been the first boards in Colorado to fund candidates. That is ridiculous. In my opinion, out of 50 years, the birthplace of the Libertarian parties in Colorado, and in 2021 was the first time the Colorado board ever funded any of our candidates. Are you serious? I'm actually very angry about that. What has the Libertarian Party of Colorado been doing before that? Do you not care about candidates? What's the purpose of the party then? So candidates are something I'm incredibly passionate about. Yes, absolutely. I know exactly how to get an email for the chair of the candidate support committee. His name's Andy Bukovich. I got his phone number. I talk to him all the time. Andy, I need an email address. Like, I don't know if there's red tape to go through, but that takes 5 seconds. I know because I know Andy Bukovich and I know a lot about what he does.
Laney kind of
So,
screwed CRM, which kept up a lot of his time, which has made our email damn near hard to get. So
well, I'm a little intense and I could show up to his house. I know I stay there, but I'm in Denver and I'll get his wife involved. We'll make it really fun for him. So, I'm not going to take care of every problem that way, like show up at somebody's house and get their wife to strong arm their husband. But, I'm just saying, like, this is a small thing that can get taken care of very easily, and I will make sure that gets done in a timely fashion. I absolutely think that we need to empower committees who already have budgets established by the LNC, the leeway and the freedom to utilize those budgets. And actually, I would argue and say it makes the LNC look equally bad, if not worse, that they couldn't get to passing candidate support for 90 days, and that is costing somebody an election or has passed their election. And why would our candidates want to even ask us for money at that point? And if our candidates don't want anything to do with us, what are we doing? We're a political party. We run political candidates. That's the idea. Are we winning right now? No. So is there other things we can do to make the brand better and advance it and then make candidates electable? Yes. But candidates should be number one. And we should do whatever we can to make sure that we can support candidates as easily and as efficiently as possible. So that's my soapbox, and I'm very passionate about candidates, and that really fired me up.
Nice. Is there anyone else that has any questions? Jay, Michael, Mises Colorado, they joined us. Out of state can ask questions too. We don't care. We're not picky.
I mean, I just a general comment, like in Pennsylvania here, we're really focused on candidates. I know that after Williamsport in 2022, I think everybody knows the Pennsylvania tale of kind of like the big three, or at least like Kevin and Jen leaving. There was a big assumption that like, oh, this big drive they were doing to recruit more candidates, especially at local level, would just kind of evaporate. what evaporated really was the desire to move people into roles like inspector of election and judge of election, where there were a lot of high number wins. And I'm not discounting any of the victories Pennsylvania had in 2021. I mean, it's well known that we have the most elected libertarians of any state here. And it sounds like you're going to give us a run for our money in Colorado there, which I'm glad for friendly competition. I think it's strong. I'm glad to hear there's a state in the West that is working on local candidacy. But I think one of the things that got missed, and that you're probably gonna be very happy to hear, is that because it just kind of got buried in social media last fall, we did elect over 20 people to local office, and they were decision-making local offices, so school boards, borough councils, and things. And here in Bucks County, which I think, TJ, I think I'm right by saying the majority of the Pennsylvania delegation is from Bucks County, which is a suburb of Philadelphia.
Yes.
It's often like the West kind of combined, but county-wise, I'm pretty sure it's mostly Bucks. It's because we're really serious about, running our candidates. We are running an individual named Bradley Cooper. Ironically, the actor Bradley Cooper also moved to Bucks County recently, against the, I think we can say, infamous Brian Fitzpatrick, like nationally, right? Infamous Congressional District 1. That's going to be a very tough race because ballot access requires a minimum of over 4,000 signatures just to get on the ballot, and probably 6,000 to avoid challenges. So we're working on that here in Bucks County and in the sliver of Montgomery County where that district runs. But last year, we actually elected an individual to an all Democrat, I think, TJ, if I'm right, it was all Democrat borough council in New Britain Borough. And because we're a suburb of Philly.
Yes, it was all Democrat. Yep.
Yeah. So New Britain Borough is one of the Philadelphia suburbs, and it's over 3,000 people in the population here. So we've had like successes in Pennsylvania before for some smaller positions in some smaller municipalities and things like that. But I don't think it really got recognized. I called it out at our state convention. As far as a libertarian being in a decision-making role on a borough council, I'm pretty sure he's the one with, I would say, like the biggest population that he reports to, because it's one of the Philadelphia suburbs here. So we're really focused on it. I look forward to the friendly competition with Colorado. I'm glad you guys are focused on the same thing. And what I'd like to see is the state's really starting to share tactics. I know it's not exactly the same in every state with things. I know, TJ's done a lot with like voter gravity and stuff like that. But I think there's a lot of like data that we need to get the IT guys, even if it's not them specifically analyzing the data, into like a process, because I do a ton of this and I'm happy to show other states how I've done it before. But like a process of analyzing the data and making it usable for people, because data is great, but if it's in a void, it's not useful. And it sounds to me that you're of like a similar mindset, which is like you can really crunch numbers, you can work out the weak spots for things, and they need to be taken advantage of, because that's exactly what the other parties are doing. But in Pennsylvania, for these local races and local races generally, I would think the old parties are getting kind of complacent. They're not paying attention. They're always shocked when we're extremely organized at the polls, and then when we know more than them about the voter base and everything else. It really worries them. So yeah, anyway, just really, really great. I appreciate all your efforts, especially as someone, more new to the Libertarian Party, but obviously not to politics. So
Yes,
that's my thing.
We definitely, so Colorado is really interested in other states that have a lot of wins. So yes, I do know how many elected libertarians you guys have in Pennsylvania, because we're like, what are they doing right in their strategy, and what can we bring into Colorado?
Yeah.
As far as data, the last election cycle was the first time Colorado has ever collected any election data at all.
Yeah, it's
Ever.
really huge. And Kara Schultz is like the genius with like arranging with data too. I think she's in Minnesota, right? And I know
Yeah.
that like, she's brilliant at elections. I know Michelle McCutcheon is really, really excellent with data out in Ohio. I'd gone to some of the training, and I work with data on a daily basis. So basically I went to their training, like a sponge, absorbed what they had, and then said, how can I apply this to Pennsylvania? And I know others did similarly, but I mean, the good news that I think you can hear from Pennsylvania, especially because it was so quiet last election cycle, regardless of our election wins, is that when Jen and Kevin and these guys walked out the door, not all the ideas walked out the door with them. And I know they'd love to think that,
Yeah.
but there's other people here who have fresh ideas and pay attention to a lot. So, kudos to them for what they did achieve, but we're moving forward in Pennsylvania. So I think it'd be really great if there was, especially with like TJ, maybe like an open forum for candidate support for ideas to be spread nationally and for like, some demonstrations to be done about like, here's how we're crunching numbers and how we're targeting certain races to run and things like that.
Yes, that would be really helpful for people all across the country. For sure, here in Colorado, we're working on candidate support, like we're calling them turnkey campaigns. So we're going all the way from local to federal office. And so we have different things for local office. Here's your campaign plan. Here's your platform. Here's all of these. This is a strategic guide. Tailor it as you will. And it goes up the chain. So those are things that we're building. So when people say they're going to run for office, we hand them these documents and say, here's your strategy, here's your platform, here's all of these things. Now tailor it to what you want to represent and run. And then pairing that with data would be super beneficial. And that's why we started collecting data to begin with. So every year we're going to do more and more and more and build off of that. And that's exactly what Democrats in Colorado did, to flip it from red to blue. So we're looking to sort of emulate that strategy. But yes, I would love for states to share more information as far as strategy to get candidates elected, because it's really, really important. And we don't have a huge billionaire built machine to do it.
Right. Yeah. And TJ, I'd go as far to say, though, I think like the LPPA, like leadership would look into it is after convention, especially for like, let's say Hannah becomes, the vice chair here in a few weeks, or I guess we're now down to 2 weeks. Oh my God. If that were to happen, that we use Basecamp here. I know Georgia uses Basecamp because we're moving into project management software. You said you had some background there. And I would think it would be beneficial for members, even if there's some sort of like admin, like authorization, where like members of like probably like national candidate support or like Hannah, who's very interested in like how we're running races and things like that, could at least be given like a read only to like the election chats going on, and like the materials and like Pennsylvania's like elections committee like area and stuff like that. So they can even just like sort of just look around it, the various graphs, the data we're compiling and stuff like that. I think it would help to inform and open up communications very easily. But anyway, that's something the LPPA group would want to consider. But it's, data, that's our big advantage, is we can share it across all channels. The Republicans and the Democrats are divided state house district to state house district here. They don't talk to each other. And they're shocked to know. My desire is that we get some clerks at like an elections county clerk office, that we get some elections county clerks at like a convention, because I know these clerks, like they meet up like in various fields and they start to say, did anybody see that the libertarians this year were like really organized? And they're like, nah, they're not organized. And then like each year being like, guys, I think they're doing something. I think they're working together better than our guys, and just slowly over time before it's too late, we take all these offices and things. But that's like my secret like dream, is that there's some, like it could be a fly on the wall of some clerks convention being like, do you think they're organized? And just being totally confused.
I would say yes. I primaried my clerk here, and I got really famous for that. I have a hard time going into any county clerk's office in this area. So they do talk, just so you know, they do talk. They're very gossipy.
Awesome. Well,
Nick,
thanks again.
Nick, you're up.
All right. I know we were talking a little bit about candidate support there, but I think one thing we've been neglecting as a party overall, and because this comes to mind because we've had some conversations with this in PA, is what do we do to support our people once they get elected, right? So, the whole number of elections things in PA, that big number, it's a little weird because we did some digging. A couple of us did some digging, and there's a whole bunch of little
From 21
positions in
especially.
Pennsylvania. So like, you have constables, which every borough, ward of a city, township has a constable. You have auditors, you have election judges and 2 election inspectors for every voting precinct that are elected. elected. So like that's, there's a ton of these positions, and that's where we kind of swoop in and have been taking those. And, I think a lot of the time we've been looking at I think a lot of time, well, I know for a fact a lot of people, even incredibly active members, didn't get support as far as getting into office. I was just talking with a constable, an elect constable in my county the other night, and he was telling me it took him some jumping through hoops in order to get sworn in. The local judge was playing dumb, like he didn't know what a constable was, because I think he was afraid he was going to come in and try to demand some of the work from other constables or deputy constables that judge was using, which he wasn't intending on doing. But yeah, there was a whole bunch. There were multiple people we talked to that didn't get sworn in because they couldn't figure it out. There was no support system on things like that, or even like vision for these roles. So, elections inspector, elections judge, I'm not sure what kind of vision we can get on it, but for some reason I've done a deep dive on the role of on the through the role of Pennsylvania constable, and have found that theoretically this gets us like, it could be used to get us like 90% of the way to a privatized police force.
Yeah, there were
And I'm
auditors that were
currently
not
writing
sworn
it.
in as well
There were
intentionally.
auditors. Yeah,
That was
I'm just going,
intentional,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, but there were all kinds of issues like that. So I'm rambling at this point, but I guess do you have any idea, any vision, any thoughts as far as support once elected to candidates? Because that's the next step we want to do. We want to have effective people making Liberty things happen once they get elected.
So I know that Angela's vision is to really start supporting state affiliates. I'm doing like a microcosm of that here in Colorado. So I'm rolling out an affiliate support program for my county affiliates. So it could be transferable to the national level from the national down to the state, and then states could disperse down through their counties. And we're really, my counties are the ones that are affiliated are super strong. We handed them internal structure documents. We handed them strategic guides. All of these things can be personalized and made their own, but we gave them the bones. So a lot of times, while I had a chair, this all came because I had a county chair that just got elected, and he's like, I feel like I was handed a county affiliate and with nothing, just like, here you go. And he's like, I didn't feel supported. I didn't feel like there was any sort of guidance. I didn't understand the role, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I'm like, as chair of the party, horrified. And I'm like, okay, we have a problem. But thank you so much for bringing this up to me. It's taken me kind of a year to figure out, how can we do this? How can we support our county affiliates? So then when a candidate gets elected, this county affiliate comes in and they're able to band together and support the candidates that are elected. So by giving them internal structure, by giving them plans, by giving them strategic guides, and we would include things like, if you get a candidate elected, what do they need to know? What are the next steps for them? How do they get sworn in? That should all be included in a strategic guide. So a state and a county is going to have to go in there and fill that out with all of the relevant information, but including that in a strategic guide for them, puts it on their radar. Oh, hey guys, this is actually going to be a problem because it's been a problem. Now that we know that the problem exists, we can fix it, right? We can't know what we don't know. So as problems roll in, as candidates are getting elected, we're then able to come in underneath them, and we're going to be able to guide them. It should be a guidance program, right? And states, of course, are autonomous, and they can accept or reject whatever, like national, say we're at the national level and we want to roll out packages for our state boards to make sure that we have more than just a board who just goes, well, we're a board, so we're just going to pretend like we know what we're doing. Because to be honest, I didn't necessarily know what I was doing when I was vice chair. I was like, oh no, now I'm vice chair. What do I do? For me, I go in and I start really educating myself on whatever it is I'm doing. I figure it out. I have a lot of time, and that's just the way that my brain works. But I would really like for people to be able to just pick up the ball and run with it. So some states may already be really good at having documented processes and things like that. Colorado wasn't. So it would be nice to be able to hand state affiliates something like, here's how this operates. And then you can take this and you can implement it on the county level. And so then we're passing along a huge chain of information, and it makes us all really operate cohesively, both on a state and national level. And when we're operating cohesively and we're working towards the same objectives, that's when we become a machine. That is where we start really seeing success. So that's one of the things that Angela really wants to do, is provide state level support. Then the state levels can provide it to their county levels. Of course, if I were to get elected where I'm at, I'm the only libertarian really. So I would just have to rely on perhaps the state board knowing information about, if I get elected, you're going to need to get sworn in. What does getting sworn in look like? So your state level board should be able to kind of know generally how the rest of the state operates through their counties and all of those local levels. That's kind of how I see that. I'm sorry. I have children. I should be downstairs. I don't know if you hear all this background noise. It's been kind of a mess. So I'm sorry for all the door slamming.
I think TJ stepped away for a couple seconds and I said I'd take over, I guess, facilitating questions while he was gone. So does anyone else have any other questions?
No, I'm actually gonna go. Hannah, I'll see you in DC. I'm gonna go join the Lars chat that's about to start up, I think, at 8 o'clock here.
It was so
So
nice to meet you, and I look forward to meeting you in person.
same. You'll see me by the credentials table, I'm sure, with a giant line on Thursday.
I'll be in my hat. You won't miss me.
Gotcha.
Michael, I see your hand raised.
Hey, Hannah. Just wanted to come on, and I don't necessarily have a question, but I just wanted to offer my support of you as a candidate. I've seen what you've been doing since I've been on the board, and before I was on the board, and just a Mises Caucus member. It's been fantastic to work with you. You've been actually helping me in my role as legislative director to really empower other people to get out there and testify and really make their voice heard. My role is very unique within the party. Now, I don't even believe everybody has this role within their state affiliate, but it's been really great to work with you and what you've been doing. In fact, because of my position, you don't even know this yet, Hannah. Senate Bill 158 was killed because that legislative update that you referenced, we talked about Senate Bill 158, the massive First Amendment and Fourth Amendment violations, and that was able to get a rally by a bunch of Republican psychedelic people to activate, voice their concern. They were able to get national media attention through CBS. And that thing got killed when, ironically, it went through the Senate, only had one no vote. And then because of all the national media attention, it was able to get killed in committee in the House. So what you're doing is really powerful. And I can't wait to see what you're going to do on the national level.
Thank you, Mr. Vance. I'm so excited. I thank you for that. We needed a white bill today. And I love being able to brag on all of your hard work. You make me look really good.
And you make me look really good as well.
So thank you so much for coming on here and voicing your support. And I'm so glad you told me that. That is amazing. You guys are excellent at what you do on the legislative committee. I think nationally, people should be watching Colorado for our legislative program.
Absolutely. If you get involved, it's one of the things I'd love to help you out with, is helping you roll out the legislative program on a national level, because we need to get more active onto the state and local and county levels in each state. And that's how we're really going to grow the future. And we're going to really grow activists who are going to be libertarians, who are going to really grow the party. And eventually those people are going to start running for office, and then they're going to start running for higher and higher levels of office. And that's how we're going to become a libertarian country.
I love the idea of a national legislative program. That's so that's something that we need to look at. I guess you and Brandon are going to get really busy.
Yes, we will.
I have one other question, if I could.
Okay.
So I had to deal with my kid real quick. So we as candidate support also wanted to implement a college style online learning that's asynchronous that candidates could do at their time. Some of our candidates, all of our candidates, most of the time have jobs. So they can't always make the candidate trainings that we have scheduled with the speakers. So we wanted to come up with a curriculum and lay it out, and they could take it at their time. But we didn't have the budget. So I looked at the finances over the last 5 LNCs, and if you actually, and I did partner with Todd Agopian on this. If you actually look at it, candidate support committee's budget has decreased under every LNC for the last 5. What can we do to increase the candidate support budget? Because ultimately, the LNC's job is to gain us ballot access and help get candidates elected. Everything else, I honestly, it's gravy. I think as a political party, that's what we should be focused on. What would you do to help increase fundraising?
So currently, right now in Colorado, we are looking at rolling out all of this affiliate support for our county affiliates and also helping them understand how to fundraise on the county level. What that looks like is you create programs and then you get buy-in, right? So say that we want to pitch this idea of this candidate training. I actually have some really good contacts that may be really beneficial and potentially cheaper than you might think, that actually do candidate training for all kinds of people. So that's something. But fundraising, so say we pitch this idea, then you fundraise on it, get buy-in from the membership, right? Do huge, massive ad campaigns advertising what you're doing. In order to fundraise really effectively, you need to be putting out things people want to buy into. I would say 99% of libertarians would be thrilled to support and donate to a candidate training, right? That should be really easy to fundraise on. So getting buy-in on all of these different ideas. Now, you're going to be able to determine what ideas are good and what ideas are not good based on the sort of fundraising you can do with it. So that's just one idea, right? Putting out ideas, fundraising off of that. Here in Colorado, I'm trying to get really confrontational in this political arena. So my original goal and my original vision was to radically change and reshape the political landscape of Colorado. It's the same thing. We're going to do so in a much more confrontational way. So what that does for fundraising is we're going to be taking on a bunch of different legislation. We're going to have projects. We're currently suing members of the state house for blocking people on Twitter. There's a county commissioner board in Weld County that removed public comment from their board meetings. They're next on our target list. So we're going to be putting out correspondence to our members, broadcasting, showcasing. These are programs that we need funding for. Send in your dollars, earmark them for this. I also am working currently on affiliate links to help generate fundraising revenue. So why wouldn't we use people who would love to talk about libertarianism and fundraise for us? I'm specifically targeting influencers on social media. So my goal is to offer someone like Free State Colorado an affiliate link, somebody like Forest Mommy an affiliate link. Forest Mommy plugs the LPCO all the time on Twitter. So she should have an affiliate link to help fundraise for us and get a nice little percentage off the top. anybody that wants to do fundraising for the party should get an affiliate link. That was really successful, so I'm not really sure why national parties stopped that program. They also restarted it. Has anyone ever heard of it? I didn't. Well, the national board told me that. And I was like, cool, well, did you tell anyone? Because it seems like we're perhaps not communicating enough what we're doing in order to fundraise. You can literally fundraise on any issue, any issue. Colorado is known to have a very nice budget, and we've generated income. I've had a nice amount of money in the bank, probably more than most state parties, specifically parties my size. And so we're doing a lot of things right here with fundraising in Colorado, and we're really looking to ramp it up over this next year, the last year of my term. So I would like to implement those ideas on the national level. We just got to get really vocal about what we're doing. We got to be louder than the people who hate what we're doing, and or fundraise off of them too. Like, hey, we're being attacked by these people. Give us some money so that we can be less lame. I don't know. You know, I feel like there's marketing opportunities for everything. And I'm excited to be able to give my ideas to people and also very vocally broadcast what we're doing. You're muted.
Awesome. Did anyone else have anything? I think you answered like most of our questions.
I feel like I answered them all.
Yeah, well, I don't know if anyone else has anything. Like, Jay left. I know he's been joining a lot from Michigan. I think he asked a question in the last one. I think I owe it to him to ask it in this one. Do you support the litigation by the LNC again in the Michigan case?
So yes, but so the thing about me is anything is negotiable. You can sway me. I'm very swayed. I have a very open mind. So the information that I currently have makes me say that yes, this is necessary. I haven't heard anything that has swayed me from that position, but I'm swayable. I'm definitely swayable, and I change my mind. My husband will tell you she can change her mind on a dime, but it's never irrationally. It's always when presented with a really good argument with strong evidence. So that is my take based on the knowledge that I currently have.
Okay. I figured I owed it to him to at least ask. So, no one has any other questions. I'll end the recording. And if you guys want to chat, we can.